Just recently, Hulu released its new comedy miniseries loosely based around the rise of Catherine the Great, which stars Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult. What did I think about the miniseries? Do I recommend you all check it out? We're going to talk about that and much more. The Great is a cynical comedic drama about the rise of Catherine the Great, from the outsider to the longest reigning female ruler in Russia's history. This series is fictionalized and portrays Catherine in her youth in marriage with the Emperor Peter, and the focus on the plot to kill her deprived and dangerous husband. What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again with a brand new TV review, and today we're talking about Hulu's new miniseries, The Great. Very excited to tell you all what I thought about the show, if you should check it out in this non-spoiler discussion. But before we dive into it, as you all can see on the screen now, make sure you follow me on all my other social media accounts. If you're new to this channel, definitely consider subscribing, hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of my new content. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up, really helps out the channel, but I also really appreciate it. And if and when you've seen this new miniseries, The Great, let me know what you all thought about the series. Who were some of your favorite characters, some of your favorite moments? Let's have some fun discussions in the comments below. So again, spoiler-free discussion. I haven't seen that much buzz around the show, so I don't want to give any spoilers away. I'm just going to give you my general thoughts, my pros, my cons, and let you know if you should check it out. So first and foremost, I was very familiar with the series. Again, if you all have been following me for a while, every month I do my movie and TV bucket list, and this was a show that came up on my radar. Two things that really kind of intrigued me about the show were the talent, the two leads. Nicholas Hoult, I've always been a fan of his, and just seeing him, you know, this guy really loves to dive into period pieces. Everything that I can think of right now is always kind of, minus like Mad Max, so it's kind of futuristic, post-apocalyptic world. But I think of Token a couple years ago, most recently The Banker on Apple TV Plus. All the X-Men movies took place in the past. You know, he played in The Favorite. So this guy loves to kind of go back in the past and kind of embody those characters, and I like him as an actor. I was excited to see what he does in a TV show, and I believe this is his first series, correct me if I'm wrong. And then Elle Fanning, man, ever since, you know, seeing her in Super 8, seeing her in dramatic roles, most recently on Netflix, that movie she did recently, seeing her in, you know, playing in The Neon Demon, just seeing her diversity in film. I was really interested to see these kind of, in my eyes, these rising stars take their talents into a TV series in a 10-hour type of format. So I was really excited about that, but I'm not going to lie, guys. It's nothing, I have nothing against like contemporary period pieces, but I just don't normally gravitate towards movies or shows that kind of handle those different subject matters and storylines. I just find them to be not as entertaining as I would like them to be. But I normally do, the ones I do like, you know, I think most recently Apple TV Plus again with Dickinson, and thinking of some other stuff that I like. I like when they take that time period and then kind of inject some of the modern slang and languages and topics and subject matters, because even though those stories like The Great takes place in the 1700s, there's still some familiar beats and some things that we go through now as a society that they went through, you know, centuries ago. So I'm always kind of intrigued to see when a show, especially a TV show, when it dives into the contemporary time period, to see what they do and how they make it more relatable to us. So those were kind of my things that kind of led me into this series. So starting off with some of my positives, as I had mentioned already, Nicholas Hoult and Elle Fanning, two great talented actors, and they do such a great job in this show. Again, in my eyes, I think Nicholas Hoult and Elle Fanning has so much range and so much diversity into what projects they pick, and you can kind of see different, you know, characters or different characteristics from those characters in movies injected in this show. Starting off with Nicholas Hoult, this guy is asked to play, again, for kind of my Game of Thrones fans out there. You remember Joffrey. He isn't as evil as Joffrey, but just imagine if Joffrey was maybe turned down a little bit, had a little bit more of a lighter side, a little bit comedic side. That's what you get with Peter the Great. I mean, this guy, Nicholas Hoult, has the charm, has the charisma. He was once, you know, be the next Batman, so he has that kind of that charm to him, right? That handsome-looking guy that you think wouldn't hurt a teddy bear. But not Peter the Great, because he's killing bears, he's killing animals, he's killing people, he's torturing his people in his court. I mean, this guy is dark, evil, deprived. He wants to kind of live up to his father's expectations, live up to being the emperor of Russia, and he has all that pressure on him. And he could have went a certain way, he could have been more nicer to his people, and I love that kind of that arc that we get with the character where he's trying to do different things, trying to make his wife happy, who we'll talk about here in a bit. Elle Fanning as Catherine the Great. But I thought Nicholas Hoult, his whole kind of from beginning to end, was just such a fascinating character to watch, such an entertaining character to watch. You love to hate him. He's doing a great job in this role, and I really was impressed by his acting chops in this role, because again, he's known for being the action guy. He can do drama, but he does a really good job of doing comedic things, and I think he has a really good comedic time, and I really enjoyed his character, even though, again, you hated Peter the Great so much, but Nicholas Hoult, that just shows you the commitment and the skill set that this guy has, because he really brought a good character to life. Going into his counterpart, his co-lead, or the star of the show, I should actually say, Elle Fanning as Catherine the Great, because it is her story. She is the lead of this show. She is such a great actress. I am so impressed by her at this point in her career. Again, I've seen her in drama roles, seen her in the sci-fi roles, seen her, transition from the big screen into the small screen. Just such a joy to watch. Her and Nicholas Hoult, whenever they were on screen together, it was just magnetic. It was just such a great back and forth between those two characters. The scheming, the backstabbing, the lies, the love, the hate. I just love that. But again, going back to Elle Fanning, I thought she did such a fantastic job. And watching her arc from episode 1 to episode 10 was such a fun and entertaining and kind of heartfelt at a lot of times, right? It was so much acts of her to be able to go beat for beat for the comedic moments that goes on with the show. Her doing the scheming and talking with people to try to, overthrow her husband, the emperor, her interacting with the women of the court, her interacting with her maid. I thought there was just so many things asked upon to do for Elle Fanning, and she nailed everything in my opinion. Again, from the comedic moments to the drama moments to the heartfelt moments to the demanding, like, I'm a badass woman, wanting to lead this country. There's so many things that was asked upon her, and I thought she did a great job of doing everything that was asked upon her. And again, her and Nicholas Hoult were definitely some standouts. And I'm not gonna lie, the supporting cast was really solid as well. I think of her maid Mario, who I thought was really interesting. There were some moments where I wish she would kind of highlight it more in the show, but every time she was on screen, she took advantage of that. Her and her relationship with Archie and Vlad, I thought was really well done. I think of Leo. As you all know, I've been watching a lot of dramas lately, and sometimes the romantic stuff don't really work for me. But in this show, Catherine the Great and Leo's relationship was really well done, in my opinion. I was, heartfelt. I felt the joy and the love, the young love that they had, and I enjoyed Leo's character. Some other characters too that stood out to me was, one of my favorite characters was definitely Aunt Elizabeth. I thought she was a fascinating character, played both sides of the fence to a certain degree, and I really enjoyed that. And all in all, I thought and I'll get to my negative characters in a little bit, but for the most part, I thought everyone was complimentary to the storyline, had some good moments. Some of them had more arcs than others. I love the two couples, Peter's best friends, his best friend and his wife. I love that dynamic. So there's a lot of good things about the acting. Obviously, the set design is beautiful. One thing I do appreciate, even though I'm not a fan of the contemporary period pieces, I do like the elegance of what they're wearing. The palace was beautiful, the landscape, all that stuff. The production design was really well done. And again, going back to it being a comedy show, for the most part, again, comedy is very subjective, but I found the show to be very funny at times, very cynical, very dark comedy moments. And also, like I said, this show gets a little dark at times. As I have mentioned, Peter has a dark side. In this show, very violent at times, unexpectedly violent, very sexual throughout the entire show, which I did not expect as well. So there's a lot of surprising elements that I obviously won't give away in this review here, but very entertained by this show and very pleasantly surprised by the period piece aspect. I never felt bored. I was very intrigued to see what happened next. Now, it did take me a couple days to finish the show just because there is, and I guess I can transition now to the cons. There are certain moments that the pacing is a little bit off. It felt a little bit repetitive at times in regards to, again, her idea and her plans to overthrow the emperor. You kind of saw some repetitive elements of that particular storyline. Certain things kind of dragged on. Certain characters didn't have as much screen time as I would have liked them to have. Some storylines didn't get as much shine as I would have liked. Going more in particular with some of the characters, as I had mentioned, that I just really wasn't a fan of. Not necessarily the acting, just the character didn't really work for me. I think of two characters. Archie, I get the point of Archie. Again, you have Archie kind of being the priest of the situation and the holy man and having his visions. But I don't know, I just didn't, the Archie character, just, I don't know, the funny moments, the dramatic moments, him being kind of the overarching, quote-unquote, villain, just didn't really work for me as a character, which also goes to his counterpart. Again, there's a lot of scheming, a lot of political moves, a lot of backstabbing. Archie and Orlov, if I'm saying his name wrong, I apologize, but it was the gentleman that was helping out Catherine the Great in the show in regards to taking over her husband's position and becoming the empress and the queen of Russia. But I didn't like his character. I found his storylines to be very very dull, very kind of uninteresting. You know, the whole, and I won't give too much away, but there's a moment when he has to do something to a particular soldier and how that affected him. And I just felt like they didn't know what to do with that particular character. If I'm saying this, I want to make sure that I'm saying his name wrong. Orlov was the character that I didn't really find that interesting. But besides that, everyone else, I'm just kind of looking through the cast here. Everyone else pretty much worked for me and did their job in regards to the show. Oh, I don't want to forget Douglas Hodge's character, the general. Wasn't a fan of him, always drunk and attracted to, like, his storyline. He was just very one note to me. So those three characters really kind of stood out to me in regards to just characters that didn't really connect with me personally. But again, outside of those characters, again, there were some pacing issues. A little bit of, not all the jokes landed, even though I found it very entertaining and funny. Not all the stuff landed. And I found sometimes there was some tonal shifts that didn't work entirely. Again, this show has comedy, drama, some dark sides, some dark comedy, and sometimes those different genres didn't mix well to me entirely, but for the most part it did. So outside of those little gripes that I had with the characters and some of the storylines that didn't really work for me, the ending, again, if you're familiar with the factual things that happen, you kind of know what happens. But the ending, to me, I wish they would have dove deeper into like more of what they did, but I'll just leave it at that. Again, this is a factual events that happen, real people, real situations, loosely based on that, obviously, but I would have liked to have seen them do a little bit more with that ending. But outside of that, guys, I was very impressed by the show. Again, for someone that doesn't really gravitate towards period pieces, contemporary period pieces, and shows like this or movies like this, I was very pleasantly surprised, very entertained. It took me about 2 days to finish it. Again, it's 10 episodes. They're about, it's about a 10-hour sit down. And obviously, as you all know, I watch a lot of movies and shows. So I was trying to watch this, join watch-alongs, do my own reviews. So it took me a couple days, but I was very satisfied with the show and excited to see what Elle Fanning and Nicholas Hoult does in regards to more TV appearances and things of that nature. Now, I do own The Favorite. I haven't watched it yet, but after watching this, because I believe the creator was the co-writer of The Favorite, I'm going to have to finally sit down and watch that and see the comparisons between Nicholas Hoult's character and the character in the Favorite. But I would recommend you all check it out. Again, it's on Hulu. It came out last Wednesday and it's available to stream now. So with that being said, give it a watch, and when you do, let me know what you all thought of it. As always, like, share, comment, subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Make sure you hit that bell so you don't miss any of my content. As always, check out my community tab on my YouTube channel so you can see where I'm going to be at next. What's my next video? Like tonight, I'm doing a BVS watch along on Guy at the Movies channel, so check out the community tab so you can watch that tonight. We're going to be talking about the Snyder Justice League movie that has been confirmed today, just officially about an hour ago, so we'll be talking about that. I will be doing my next movie, Movies I Missed series. There's the Lovebirds movie that's coming out on Netflix this Friday, and then I have my own watch along on Saturday, May 23rd at 6 p.m. Central Time for the 40th anniversary of The Shining. So a lot of content coming for you guys. I'm going to be on some other podcasts, some other channels. So again, check out the community tab so you know where I'm going to be at. What's my next content? Follow me on Instagram so you know where I'm going to be at as well. But again, thank you all for the continued support. Thank you for watching this review, and we'll see you soon.